Here we are at Breakforth in Edmonton, Alberta with the Canadian sensation, the band Color.
Wow.
I mean, well, you are. Come on.
Thank you.
You guys just won 3 Covenant Awards.
Yeah.
Based on this wonderful video you guys did. Tell us a little bit about that video for people that don't know.
Yeah, so we have a song, What I Would Say to You.
Who's going to take it?
Yeah, I know, right? So the song, What I Would Say to You, it was it's a heart song for us. It really is, right from the get-go. Mm-hmm. And what we ended up doing with this is we took some people from our community who have just some really incredible stories. They're stories of tragedy, hardships that have gone on, but also incredible ways that the Lord has worked through that and in their lives. And we showed these stories in the video. There's interview videos with them that came along with it, so you can watch both of those. And it just starts talking about the real life stuff that happens when you go through hard times. And it was incredible, absolutely incredible to see their testimonies.
Was everybody a faith-based story? Was it mostly people that you already knew? Or how did you find these stories within your community?
They were faith-based. But I mean, the journey for some of these stories were crazy in like an 8-year period of time. So the different ups and downs and the valleys and the highs and the lows of what they experienced truly, it broke our hearts to hear them. But a few of them, we knew the people beforehand. And honestly, even when we were writing this song, which was far before this idea came to us, we had talked about a few of these people and just what the song was speaking to. We just kind of went like, yeah, it's kind of like that situation of what they're going through. How would they be able to how can they hear about God's grace and love in the midst of this time that's just really difficult? So it was interesting. And one of the stories actually happened in the process. We met with the brother, which is one. So what ended up happening is this. There's a guy in our community who went missing, went on a hike, and never came home, and he was found dead, and we had actually met with his brother to talk about this project, this vision.
He's going to be involved with helping create the project.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And on that very day he got the phone call in our supper meeting about this project and called to go look for his brother who they were worried about. And so that story happened in the midst of this project, and it ended up becoming one of the 3 stories that was a part of it. And so it's just crazy how God really worked in a way too, where we went out and we were a part of the search for this.
One of the things that we talked about that makes this video compelling is that you didn't make this up. This isn't sitting down with a pen and going, what kind of a story can we create? That must have been I think exciting and also scary at the same time. You're in charge of telling their story. Mm-hmm. So which came first, the song or the video idea of these stories? Did you hear these stories and then write the song, or was it a little bit of both?
The song came first. We had these stories. Some of these stories happened before the song was written,
Sure.
And even in that process, we kind of went to them as reference of just the heart of the song really fit well in our ability to process what we were trying to communicate.
Nice.
Because it wasn't something we had personally necessarily experienced, but we just felt that it needed to be said. So the song was written, and the idea for the video project was really quite seemingly random. I was leading a mission trip. I was youth pastoring at the time, and we had a group of like 40 people who had grown up. A lot of them had grown up from like kindergarten to grade 12. And during our time there, the group we were with, they encouraged us. They said, we're going to take 7 minutes for you to share your life story. Get in groups of 3. You take 4 minutes to tell your story, and you take 3 minutes where it's questions. And it just was incredible. It just really struck me the power of the story, where we had these kids who had grown up, known each other for their whole lives, just learned so many new things and impacted the same struggles that they had, that this other person had, that they didn't know until that moment. And just the power of when you're willing to open up and share what has happened, whether it's, in this case, it was just kind of like, just speak out what's happened in your life, not necessarily even what God has been doing. But if you can speak out and be willing to be open and vulnerable, there's just this opportunity, I believe, for life impact, for life change, and to be able to speak out this truth of God's healing.
Everyone has a story.
Everybody has it.
And I think what's interesting is you have youth groups, you have churches where everybody knows everybody's name, but they don't know that person. What a great idea to sit around and start telling stories. Stories, and we often will candy coat and say, just tell me what Jesus is doing. well, we don't really know how to say that. But tell me your life.
Yeah.
We can do that, and we'll see Jesus in it. And how do you find that now that you're writing songs about this and showing a video about this? That's got to change what people come up to you after concerts. I want to tell you my story. Does that happen?
Oh, so many times.
Right?
It's incredible to see, it started with this little community, and yet it's gone across our country. And everywhere we go, it doesn't matter if it's East Coast, West Coast, everywhere, people are coming up to us saying, this is what happened to me, and thank you so much for sharing that video because it's encouraged me to tell my story. And people who feel like because of what has happened in their story, that their voice is gone, they're learning that it's actually given them a voice. And it's an incredible thing, and it's given people purpose, and it's almost an element of life that it gives to them, realizing that they have something to offer because of the hardships that they've gone through.
We often want to throw ourselves away and say we disqualified ourselves because of our story. And often it's our story that gives us the ability to tell who Jesus is, right?
Absolutely.
So now you've done this, you've won some awards, you've been doing great songs, and you're actually finding an impact wherever you go. Now you're writing a new record. Where are you going thematically? What's next for The Color?
Yeah, there is a reality that this song has been a part of just a shift of focus, or maybe just more of a refined focus of what we are. What is The Color? What is our purpose in sharing music? Lots of people sing great songs, but what do we feel that God has really called us to say? And so it really does go along the same lines. This idea of we want people to be real. We don't want to shy away from the real,
The hard
just
questions.
the difficult things that you experience in life. And I think so often we feel that as Christians writing Christian music that we need to just kind of always be positive, and there's just reality that life isn't always that way.
Sometimes a chord doesn't have to resolve itself, and often our stories don't resolve, right?
Yeah, and then there's this other side of it where we don't want to just speak out our stories to kind of stay in that place. We want to be able to move from that to bring the focus towards God. And so there's a part of this record that's just really fun, celebratory.
Yeah,
great.
Some of the songs they are really just a great time.
Yeah, we almost see this new album as a response to our last one.
That's great.
Where it becomes something where we've seen what God has done in the midst of being in some of those difficult situations. And because of that, we want to do two things. We want to worship Him, and we want to celebrate Him.
Well, and this is the next chapter.
Absolutely.
This is the next place. You don't want to stay where you were, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've watched you guys since the beginning of you guys as a band. And not only as people, but as a band, I've seen the growth, and I've seen the energy, and I've seen the impact that you've made on a country. You've done a great job. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being friends.
Hey, thanks for having us.
And
It's always
keep
good to see you.
writing and singing, because your music is encouraging people. If you're not familiar with The Color, go check them out and wait for this spring when they're not only going to tour this country, but they'll release a brand new record.